The standard commitment to work the humanitarian suicide hotline is 6 months. Most people work 6 months and then they leave. Quickly. I was a volunteer there for 4 years. And it started when I was 22 years old, and I was young, and I believed in things. And so, I show one running to this church on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and I see this guy who's clearly in charge. And he tells us his name is Glenn. And as soon as Glenn starts the training, he starts to weed people out. People that were there because they had lost someone because of suicide, or because they themselves had contemplated or tried to commit suicide. And I'll tell you right now that Glenn was good. But I was better. Because what Glenn didn't know about me was that 4 years ago I lived in San Diego. And I had had it. So I drove to my dad's house, and I took out a .38 caliber and grabbed a bottle of tequila. I took the gun, and I drank about half a bottle of tequila, and I drove to Torrey Pines Beach. According to the American Center for Suicide Prevention, in 2017, there were an estimated 1.4 million suicide attempts. And unfortunately, 47,173 were successful. Suicide is a problem that affects all of us in this room, whether it be directly or indirectly. In this piece, we examine how one person's suicide deeply impacts the life of another person. Perfect Moments by Brian Finkelstein. And then I took the gun and I stuck it in my mouth. And I'll bet you Glenn has no idea how good it feels to stick a loaded gun in your mouth. It felt good to have control. And then I was sitting there, contemplating doing it. And the tequila makes me a little dramatic. So I threw up. And I took the gun out, and I thought to myself, at least I know I'm not the type of person that's going to pull the trigger. Which is something I had to find out that way. So I went out into the water, and I saw the full moon. And I had for me, it was a perfect life moment. And I realized that that's what life is. And that that's enough for me. Because there are these moments of beauty, like moons and oceans. And moments of horror. And then it's good again. But I bet you Glenn didn't know any of that because I never told him. So at the end of 2 weeks of training, out of a series of 58 people, 4 of us were left. And as soon as you walk into the hotline room, you see a sign that says the motto of the hotline. Shut up and listen. And that is an amazing expression to me. And that is exactly why I stayed there for 4 years. Because after 6 months, I got my certificate. I was free to leave. But I stayed there and worked there for 4 years because it made me feel good to work there. For 2 reasons. One, sitting there and listening to other people's problems on the phone makes you realize, you know what, I don't have it so bad. These people have it a lot worse. And 2, seeing the sign, shut up and listen, it's how you do prevent suicides, by listening to people. Now the training basically says you pick up the phone and you say, "Humanitarians, thanks for calling." You then have to be an active listener. And Glenn said not to get scared if there was silence on the phone because silence is a form of communication. However, he did say that you can't get manipulated by silence. So for the last 5 minutes, end the call. And at the end of 12 minutes, end the call anyway because that's a lot of time. But he did say that the biggest, clearest thing that you can have for a warning sign for suicide is that somebody says something like, "I don't want to die, I just want the pain to stop." If you hear somebody say that, they want the pain to stop, that's how you know that person's on the edge. So, 4 years later, I'm working the overnight shift. It was just me and my shift partner, Adam. And around 4 a.m., the phone rings, and I pick it up, and I say, "Humanitarians, thanks for calling." This young, cute, scared voice answers the phone and says, "Hi, I'm Amy. I'd like to talk." And I said, "What's up, Amy? What's going on?" "I was just calling because I was feeling a little sad." I said, "Well, sad about what?" "I don't know. Things are pretty good. I have good grades at school. My parents don't get it, but they love me. And NYU's pretty good. I have good friends here." I said, "Well, that all sounds good, but you mentioned you were sad. What do you think about when that happens? Everything and nothing. I don't know. Sometimes when I have a really good day, what I try to do the next day is I try to duplicate it. But then, out of nowhere, she described what felt like a hand coming from behind her and sort of pushing her down. And I said, well, what are you thinking about when that happens? Everything and nothing. I don't know. I just feel so stupid. And so we were talking like that, and then I noticed it was about time to wrap up the call. But then Amy started to slur her speech a little bit. And I said, what's up, Amy? Is everything okay? She says, look, I know it's selfish, and I know it's stupid, but I just can't anymore. I just want it to stop. And I said, what do you mean by it? And she says, look, I don't want to die. I just want the pain to stop. And I woke up. And I said, Amy, do you feel so bad that you think about suicide? And she said, yes. I said, Amy, have you set a plan for how you're going to do it? She said, yes. I said, Amy, have you taken any steps today to kill yourself? And she said, yes. And I said, Amy, what have you done? She said that she had taken 20 high-strength painkillers. And I asked what kind of painkillers and wrote them down, and handed a piece of paper after Adam so you could call poison control, and I could have some more information to pass along to her. And then I was trying to keep Amy talking, and then Adam came back with the paper from poison control, and I said, Amy, given the fact that you've taken 20 high-strength painkillers, drank, and haven't thrown up yet, you do realize that you could die within the hour. And she starts to cry, and I said, Amy, do you want me to do something? I can only do something if you say so. I do. I don't want this. And I said, Amy, what's your address? She gave me the address, and I wrote it down, and handed it off to Adam, and he could call 911. And then I was trying to ask Amy questions. I was like, Amy, what kind of ice cream was it that your father bought you? You mentioned that your father bought you ice cream. But it was silent. And it was silent for 2 minutes. And it was silent for 5 minutes. And I'm supposed to hang up the phone, but who the hell could hang up the phone? And around 13, 14 minutes, you hear the sound of the door crashing down and footsteps coming towards the phone, and so I'm picking the phone up and saying, it's okay, we have her. And I went home. I was supposed to go back to the hotline for debriefing based on my calls, but I called Glenn and told him I quit. And then I did all the things you're not supposed to do in that situation. I obsessed about it. I looked through all the newspapers, I listened to the radio, and finally, after 3 days of searching, I found it. The Daily News, page 23. Small paragraph that said they had found the body of a 23-year-old NYU student named Amy Walters, who died of an accidental overdose. And I know why they call it accidental. There's insurance reasons, religious reasons, family. But what I didn't know until that moment was that she was dead. And that I was the last person to talk to her. Not her mom in Tennessee, or her best friend, me. I spoke to her for less than an hour 20 years ago. But she's me in that car, and I think about it every day. If I pull the trigger, that would be me. And that she never got to find out what I got to find out, which is terrible. But there are perfect